Shiloh Jolie has grown up, and it has happened right before our eyes, quietly, yet more fiercely than any Hollywood screenplay could ever capture. The little girl who once melted hearts around the world with her innocent smile is now a 19-year-old young woman, resolute, distant, and carrying in her eyes the sorrow of someone who has witnessed too much collapse. Her story began like a fairy tale. In the summer of 2006, under the golden Namibian sun, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt welcomed their first biological child, Shiloh Jolie Pitt. At that moment, they were the world's most adored couple, a love story fit for the movies, a dream wedding, 6 beautiful children, a centuries-old chateau in France. Everything Hollywood wanted to believe was real. But time would prove that no fairy tale lasts forever. Shiloh grew up in flashing lights, in mansions and private jets, but also amid rumors, headlines, and breaking news about her parents. She never knew what privacy meant. From the age of 3, she was the subject of thousands of articles, millions of comments, the most photographed child on Earth. At 4, Angelina revealed that Shiloh liked to wear boys' clothes, wanted to be called John, and played only with her brothers. The little girl had no idea she was becoming the center of a global debate. Every gesture, every outfit was scrutinized. When the media dubbed her Hollywood's gender freedom icon, she was still just a child. Then, in 2016, the dream shattered. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie divorced, and Hollywood shook. It wasn't just the loss of faith and love. It was the beginning of a legal war that would drag on for nearly a decade. And at the heart of that storm were their 6 children. Shiloh was 10. She couldn't understand why her parents no longer spoke, why the father who once laughed with her now appeared in headlines filled with accusations. One side was her mother, strong, protective, ready to fight the world for her children. The other was her father, the man who once carried her in his arms, now painted as an outsider. Between them, Shiloh stayed silent, watching her world crumble piece by piece. As the years passed, the distance between Brad Pitt and his children grew wider. Shiloh became closer to her mother, rarely seen with her father. In the few photos captured by paparazzi, she walked beside Angelina, head down, lips sealed. Her eyes held the guarded look of a child who had learned too early that love too can hurt. During her teenage years, the public thought she had finally found peace. She let her hair grow long, wore dresses, and smiled radiantly beside her mother at the Eternals premiere. That smile moved fans around the world, a sign perhaps that the tomboy had bloomed into a young woman. But few realized it was only a calm moment between 2 storms. And a year later, Shiloh changed again. She cut her hair short, returned to a casual, free-spirited style. Oversized t-shirts, sweatpants, sneakers, that became her look everywhere she went. And then in 2024, on her 18th birthday, she did something that stunned the world. Just days after turning 18, Shiloh filed a petition in a Los Angeles court to remove Pitt from her name. No statement, no announcement, no explanation, only a firm, deliberate act. 3 months later, the court approved it. From that moment on, she was no longer Shiloh Jolie Pitt, but simply Shiloh Jolie. Without uttering a word, she made Hollywood understand. She no longer wanted to be tied to the father whose battles filled her childhood with tears. For Brad Pitt, it was a deep wound. The man who once said the day his daughter was born was the happiest of his life now had to read that she had legally erased his name. He said nothing. He didn't protest. He just stayed silent, as if he knew that sometimes silence hurts more than any accusation. Those close to him said Brad was heartbroken, but not surprised. The distance had been there for years, since Angelina won custody, since the investigations, since the nights he couldn't see his children. Shiloh had grown up watching a wounded father and a mother who constantly fought to protect them. Slowly, inevitably, she gravitated toward the parent who made her feel safe. Her dissatisfaction with her father wasn't born of hatred. It came from wounds that never healed. Brad may have tried, but it was never enough. And Shiloh, she had seen too much. So when adulthood came, she chose the most decisive way to break free, to publicly sever the bond that once defined her. She didn't need to say, "I'm disappointed in you." She only had to drop his name, and the whole world understood. Since then, Shiloh has lived quietly. She no longer appears often with Angelina, nor ever with Brad. She lives simply in her own apartment, studies dance, meets friends, drives herself everywhere, and keeps off social media, away from gossip, away from fame. And in that silence, people see a stronger Shiloh, a girl born in a storm, yet calm enough to walk out of it. Angelina Jolie, though proud, can't hide her worry. The mother who once said she couldn't sleep if her children were out of sight now must accept that her daughter has grown. But she understands better than anyone why Shiloh made that choice. It wasn't just independence, it was healing. Only by letting go of a name tied to pain could Shiloh begin a new life. Brad Pitt, meanwhile, though now with someone new, still carries emptiness inside. He once said he didn't blame Angelina, only time. But deep down, he knows. Years of fighting his ex-wife cost him the most precious thing, his children's trust. People say Shiloh looks strikingly like Brad, his eyes, his walk, his smile. But her spirit mirrors Angelina's, fierce, free, unyielding. She is the union of both, and the proof of what was broken between them. Now, when people look at Shiloh, they no longer see Hollywood's little angel. She's no longer the child caught between her parents, nor the fashion darling magazines once idolized. She's simply Shiloh Jolie, an ordinary young woman living simply, carrying the invisible scars of an adult war. She chose her path. No screaming, no blaming, no interviews. Silence. Yet that silence speaks louder than anything. As Brad Pitt watches his daughter grow from afar, unable to reach her, and Angelina Jolie quietly observes every change, both parents know Shiloh has stepped into another world, her own world where she's no longer defined by anyone's name, but her own. And perhaps in all these battles, the only true winner is her, the little girl born out of Hollywood's most famous love story, now the woman strong enough to walk away from its ruins, carrying every memory, every scar, and every ounce of pride. Shiloh Jolie is no longer the child destined for a fairy tale. She is the one rewriting it, through silence, through pain, and through a decision so public, yet so deeply personal, that it made the world bow its head and listen.